back to Pro Booth Talk. Lap, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hi, everybody.
So we have a guest host with us in the virtual studio today. Please introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do.
My name is Ari Jacob. I go by Little Miss Jacob everywhere on the internet, and I am the founder of CreatorGenius.com. We do short form video for small and medium sized businesses, which is basically the way to dominate on social media nowadays as short form videos. And I met you guys when I started doing a lot of the kind of outreach for wedding content creator, being a wedding content creator. And I figured this was kind of in my realm. So I took a stab at it and met a lot of great people. But yeah, I've basically been doing social media since the MySpace days, and that's kind of my shtick.
Wow, so you're old enough for MySpace. I wouldn't have guessed.
Oh
And
yeah,
we met
definitely.
actually through Brittany, who has also guest hosted on the podcast. So if anyone hasn't listened to from planner to partner yet, go back and check out that episode. Really, really great insight from Brittany.
I also happen to be like an expert on cancel culture and smear campaigns in Hollywood. And I'm mentioning that here because it's funny. I've seen in the wedding space lately, there's a lot of like smear campaigns going on with like TikTokers,
Really?
posting things about their wedding vendors, like makeup artists and whatnot. And so if anybody, has questions on that, I survived my own New York Times hit piece in 2020. 0 out of 10 experience. Do not recommend, but I survived and I built my reputation back up. And but now I know all the dirty secrets of how smear campaigns happen. And, a lot of times cancel culture happens in like everyday life with competitors in business. And so I'm kind of a master of how to, if you get attacked, how to kind of get your story out or get ahead of it, or just a proponent of like, hey, how about we just not do that stuff and just be nice to each other?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
So I
all
didn't have
ships
any
rise
questions about
together.
that, but I've never really thought about that. So I guess I've got a million questions about that now. So it's kind of like a blending of PR with social media at that point.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize
And
that
I
was
managed really
a
big
thing.
TikTokers. So when I lived in LA, I managed Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae. So I worked with Britney Spears. I brought her out here to Resorts World one time. So I work with talent. I kind of have a broad range of things I know, but it all kind of ties back to the internet, social media, digital, and content creation.
That's so you said that's like a trending thing to smear vendors. Is that like is
Well,
it actually like trending, like people just getting on
I mean,
board
I've
to
seen a lot of things. Yeah. So there was one recently that went pretty viral, and it was like an influencer filming herself taking off her makeup on her wedding day, and then she said she was going to redo it herself, and
yeah,
then she shows her face redone, and it looks basically exactly the same. And then and it went kind of viral, and then uh, the makeup artist made her own TikTok video. I guess I don't even know if she had a TikTok account or if she just made one to like respond to it. Not sure. I don't think she had like a lot of followers. And then, she said her side of the story, which was essentially like this, client didn't say anything about it. And she said she was happy. And she's like, I wish she would have said something to me. And so people do these sort of things for clout. I think if they have content about something and they can drag somebody they think is less powerful than them on the internet, then they go for it and do it. And I think that the good thing is that that woman stood up for herself, which is also what I did in that situation. But sometimes, if you have a big creator that's trashing you, it's a lot harder to get your side of the story out. But luckily, we're kind of living in this time where people on the internet, I think, have a sense of like they want justice. They don't want to see the little guy get trampled on. And so if you're an honest business owner, even if you make a mistake, I think people want the truth. They want to see the receipts. And when people just, trash somebody for clout, it's sort of easy to get to the bottom of it at the end of the day. But I do see it a lot in the wedding stuff, because there's people that are like, oh, I hated my wedding photos, and actually this is what I do now after what happened to me is I actually put a non-disparagement clause in my contracts with any clients. It's broader than a non-disclosure, like the NDA, a non-disparagement. Because an NDA, basically, if something is true or, perceived to be true, whatever, somebody can still say it. But if you have a non-disparagement clause in your agreements, it actually makes it, so that somebody can't disparage you, even if they don't like you, even if you did mess up. But, usually do it mutually both ways. I think that's good protection.
Can hear like several hundred photo boothers like writing that down right now. I don't think any of us have that in their contracts.
Yeah, I'm happy to share the clause that I had with my attorney drew up for me that you could put on your site or whatever. But people don't think about it. I mean, I even talk to people, big business people that run big businesses, and they're like, I guess I never thought to put that in my general agreement. But why not, right? Because it's like, I'd rather you just not trash me. I won't trash you.
All right.
Or if you want to trash people, I guess you could do it one-sided. Anyway, the point is it's, I mean, at the end of the day, contracts are worth the paper they're written on. You have to go then sue the person, but at least it gives some level of
point.
Yeah.
So, and I guess I haven't seen that in the wedding industry, but I guess I see it everywhere else. So it doesn't really surprise me. Anything for clicks, even if people are creating that negative image just because, the Karen type of videos are really popular. So people will, make those up or create a situation where someone is forced into acting like a Karen just so they could post it and get those clicks. So I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what brought this on. I don't know if it's Gen Z or what it is, but I have this real big problem with this notion of cry bullies. What a cry bully is somebody that, uses kind of their platform or their power, usually as a content creator or whatever, but it could be another business to kind of basically say oh, I've been, I'm the victim, I was attacked, or I'm the victim, somebody did my makeup wrong for my wedding, when in reality, they're the bully. They're the one that's feigning victimhood,
right.
When they're actually the bully. So I call them cry bullies, and I like to call people like that out. But there's something about, I think maybe the TikTok generation, it was kind of oh, you can get attention by saying, this person ruined my event, or I had this terrible experience. But then it's you don't know the other side of the story. And unfortunately, if the other side is not quick with it, if they don't get their side of the story, or maybe people used to say oh, don't drag attention to it, it'll cause the Streisand effect where everybody will then start to look at it. I think we're living in an age where you just have to come out ahead of the story and say, just say what it is. And if you did something wrong, just take accountability. I think people this day and age are a lot more willing to forgive somebody that's willing to take accountability than just somebody that's oh, I didn't do anything wrong. But I think people are just using these, whatever happened in their brain, or if it didn't happen, they make it up just to get attention for content. And it's I don't know where that came from, that people give that attention. But now these people are getting called out, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are a lot of internet sleuths that also thrive on that, calling people out and getting to the bottom of it. So some good stuff on both sides. So a lot of the questions that we got are pretty basic, which kind of tells me, unsurprisingly, that a lot of boothers are boothers and not social media people, which isn't surprising. So that's a lot of what...
You mean everybody's focused on running their business? It's okay.
Yeah,
listen,
exactly.
All my clients, when I tell people they're who are your clients? I'm mainly boomers that know that they need social media, but I'm not putting them down. It's everybody hires an accountant, but then when it comes to social media, everybody hires, they hire the intern, to do it. And it's so wild to me, because I'm well, what if you just put, a small budget, you put a budget aside for your accountant, right? And you put your budget aside for these other things. But if you really want to be serious with social media, if it's a driver of business for you, which of course for photo booths and, some of my clients, plastic surgeons, things like that, of
Very
course
visual,
it's
yeah.
important. But they're not supposed to be the experts, really. I mean, if you think about it, I know that's the kind of pressure that business owners take on themselves. well, I could do it for, for free if I do it myself. And of course, it's good to start somewhere. Listen, if you don't have a budget for it, then of course, like learn about it and go online and do all these things. But, when I hear like a plastic surgeon is like, oh, my social media is keeping me up at night, I'm like, maybe you should just worry about surgery and, let me handle the social media. So anyway, no stress on anybody that is a little bit stressed on social media, because a lot of it is like, it's like, where do I start, right? It's like, what idea do I have?
Yeah.
What
So
content do I have?
I'd say like, don't want to take up too much of your time, because I'm sure we could talk about this for like 6 hours, but I do want to try to cover like
Sure.
kind of like all of that, like, because a lot of people do want to do it themselves. So I kind of want to start there and then move
Okay, great.
into
Yeah, I'm happy
like,
to help.
when are we hiring someone else and what that looks like.
Sure.
So as far as the people that want to or have to do it themselves because they just can't budget somebody yet,
Yeah.
let's look at like minimums first of all. You see all kinds of things. Like I've seen a post recently going around my Facebook all the time that just says like, posting every day isn't a strategy, which I'm sure is very accurate, but that's something that gets pounded into our heads all the time. You have to post every day. You have to post several times a day. So like, what is a minimum number of platforms, minimum number of posts, the type of posts, just some of the basics, which probably that isn't basic.
I would encourage everyone to purchase the pro version of ChatGPT. Start there.
100%.
It's $20 a month. It's a very small investment. And what you can do is you can open the ChatGPT and say, this is my business. I can even give you some prompts when I don't have any prepared right now, but basically, this is what my business is about. This is my core demographic. This is my location, all that information that's on your website. Put all that into ChatGPT in a thread. And then what you can do is when you have a post, like put it on all the platforms. Why not? If you already have a short form video made, because here's the thing, static posts, like one image on Instagram you might as well not post. So I would just say you can do carousels with music attached to it, but I suggest trying to do video. And it's not as complicated as it sounds. You can have ChatGPT generate your captions and, you have to work with it. You don't want it to sound completely generic, but make sure that you ask it to do like search engine optimized captions. Don't let it do hashtags that are like Funky Friday, hashtag Funky Friday or something. Hashtags should only be used nowadays with like SEO key terms, broad SEO key terms. So it should be like hashtag photo booth, hashtag, I haven't done the research, but like you can have ChatGPT do the broad term search engine research. Now you have a thing that makes the captions, right? And so if you get something, I think there's one I've been using, it's called Rella. I think the website's called Get Rella. You can, I also think it's like maybe $15 a month, but you can post on multiple pages. You can do like as many different accounts as you need, and you can do all the different platforms. So you can do YouTube Shorts. I suggest doing all of them because, again, it goes back to search engines. Like before, social media didn't used to rank in a Google search. If you search, like Instagram wouldn't pop up or TikTok, but now they do. And then also a lot of people just search within the platforms themselves, within the social media platforms. Mm-hmm. They might search photo booth person in my city. And I think a lot of people also get hung up on like, well, I don't care if like people in New York see my business if I'm in Nevada. So I don't need a post to go viral. I just want people in my city. But the reality is, if you can make a post that's broadly engaging in your industry, then you're going to rank locally for that video. You get what I'm saying? Because most of the people are going to see you once you get like consistent content going up. If that sounds stressful, a really easy way, what you can do is you can, first of all, gather all your content that you have and organize it. Like I like Google Photos because you can see the previews and stuff. But you could do it on your iCloud or whatever. It's just harder sometimes to share that stuff. But
that's someplace I really struggle.
Yeah, try to organize your content. Like a lot of business owners have a ton of content on their phone and they're like, oh, I don't know what's mine and what's the business. Like just spend a day and do it. Just force yourself to do it. And this is like 90% of the work. Then if you have like short videos that are like 10 seconds of just B-roll of you doing something, you're setting up the the photo booth or, the pictures coming out, whatever it is, do like 10-second little videos. Then what you can do is you can go back to ChatGPT once you've already told it kind of who your audience is and everything, and then do these like relatable quotes. So you could do like, I don't know what's something in your industry that's like relatable, to the person that's booking the event. Maybe it's like, trying to find, I'm trying to think of something like funny and relatable, but like I have one, for example, where I put a quote over just like a video of me working out. And I'm not like a working out influencer or anything like that, but I just like wanted to post something like funny and relatable. So the quote, realizing I have to do cardio, lift weights, and basically eat air so I can manage to look all right forever. Love that for me. And that got 500,000 views. And it's just literally a 10-second clip to like a viral song, or I think it was like an 80s song. And it's because it gets shares on Instagram, like somebody sent it to somebody else or they posted it on their story. It's very relatable. Then that did really well. So you have to think about who are the people that are booking, your events, who is your client, and what are their like hopes, fears, dreams, and what's relatable to them. And can you do some like funny stuff around that? And so you can do these like little 10-second, like this is what I call like lazy content, but like I call it lazy content, but that's like my most viewed video, I think, on my Instagram page. So if you can spend a day and do like, 15 of these lazy quotes, like 15 funny things, and just, mess with it. I also like tell the ChatGPT, I tell it, I talk like Claudia Oshry from The Toast mixed with like, millennial trying to be like Gen Z. And so it kind of knows. So it'll say like bestie, or, it uses these words that I like to use. And so you can give it personality. You can say, I talk like whoever, I don't know who you think you talk like, a celebrity or something like that. But you can train it to do that, and then train it to.
Or who you want to talk like to match your brand.
Who would you guys talk like?
Oh man.
Lucy Liu.
I don't know if most people know who Lucy Liu is anymore. Hasn't been around for years.
Don't say that.
It breaks my heart. She was so great and then kind of disappeared. I think she's on a TV show now, like Law and Order or something like that.
That's so funny. Yeah, kind of like the style though, like if I want to be sassy, I'm like, make it more like Dave Portnoy would say, or, whatever. But I think that, so that, I think that's, can you understand that concept, what I'm explaining? It's like,
yes, I do a lot. I share a lot of that type of content on my Instagram, actually, like quotes. I don't even pay attention to what's on the background, but sometimes I look, I'm like, oh gosh, this is a gym that's a gym content.
Right. Well, so like my friend was starting this in this little event business, and I did some like that where it was like, PSA, if there's only one trash can at your holiday party, you're hosting it wrong. Pro tip in caption. And it was just like a tip of like, make sure you have extra trash cans, because sometimes people don't think about it, And so some of these were like not as like funny relatable, but mainly like, little like event tips that you might not think about. Holiday parties need a coat rack. Forgot one? Congrats. Your bed is now the VIP lounge for everyone's jacket. Solution. Let's plan every detail. And then more thoughts in the caption. So anyway, you can.
I feel like I shouldn't share this because I feel like it's so great. But when you came in, so I already came to a Coffee and Cronuts with Shannon and myself here, which one of the biggest things I miss Shannon about is we haven't had a Coffee and Cronuts since she went over to this venue she's working at now. Need to get that back together. But so during that coffee, we were talking about some of this stuff too. And here is something that you suggested to me that I wrote down that is sitting on my desk. I haven't done anything with yet, and I feel like I should keep it close to the chest and not give it to everybody else, since it's the only thing I have here, and it's been months and I haven't done anything with it but look at it every day. So you said that I should create something that says like, when you spend X on X, but the only thing people care about is the photo booth, and showing like video of like all the wasted favors and stuff that are being boxed up at the end of the event, because that is something very relatable to people, like
when
all the money they're spending on everything.
$5,000 on trinkets and everybody's only cares about the photo booth. Yeah.
I love that. And someday I'll post it. Someday I'll do my social media. But yeah, I'm one of those people that know I should do it.
And I think that we all do this. I think sometimes I do it too, where I'm like, oh, it's past 11 a.m. Like I shouldn't post. It's not going to get seen. And then sometimes like I'll post, I just force myself, okay, this is stupid. I just need to, if I have something, let's just do it. And then it'll go, it gets a lot of views. So I think we all overthink it when it comes to social media, but it's just right now, the algorithms on most platforms, they're rewarding just consistent content. It's quantity over quality. So, I mean, the whole thing of, post every day if you can, but try not to stress yourself out. But the thing is, it's like, you don't have to overthink it. Every post is not going to be a banger.
Right. So going back to GetRela, so I just want to make sure I understand. So that is like a scheduler, like you connect all your social medias and you load up some content and it just goes out to all of them. It's like an auto poster. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah. And it'll give you the different, because some of them, you have like for YouTube Shorts, you have to do a title and then description. You can just do a title too. But it's like the least expensive one where you can, because I do multiple accounts and then some platforms, like you have to pay for every different account that you use, like handle. And so some people might have different handles that they're using. So I like it because, you can get it out to as many handles and as many platforms out there.
So does it schedule as well?
Yeah, it schedules and auto posts.
As far as you mentioned, like it's 11 p.m., you don't want to post something, you really don't have to. If you post it to that, you can just tell it when to
if you schedule it.
So you mentioned like spend a day and do like 30 posts or videos or whatever it was. So say you do that. Say you spend a day and you get 30 videos put together. What does that schedule look like? Is it daily? Is that like a drop over 5 days? Like how frequent should those videos be going out?
I mean, if you can post once a day, great. If not, at least try doing 15 posts a month, I think you could get some traction. The thing that people have to realize too is that if you're the one that does if you actually do this, you're going to take out a lot of your competitors because a lot of people are in the same boat where they're like, especially if you have a business, because people are like, oh, I'm busy. I don't need to do social media right now. But if you can make it so you're not spending, you have to make sure you're not spending 50% of your time on Instagram or whatever. It's like Definitely. If you can schedule 3 days a month where you're focused on it, getting your ideas together, or I have like a notes app. If I come up with an idea, I'll put it in the notes app and then I'll go home and add it to the schedule.
Yeah. So I've always heard because people feel overwhelmed by the number of different channels out there. And I've heard people suggest just finding one that you like and that you're good at and focusing on that. But it sounds like, as long as you have an account with all of them with this, GetRela, really if GetRela is the one you focus on, then you'll automatically just be hitting all of them. So that sounds like.
Yeah, if you're doing short form content, why not put it everywhere? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I think it's worth it for search engine. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world that's owned by Google. So obviously, if you optimize your posts on there, you're going to get seen. And then people are searching on TikTok and Instagram now. Or they'll find you, they'll hear about you, and then they'll go look at your social media to see if you're legit. And if you haven't posted since who knows when, they kind of are it loses the trust factor.
So when you talk about posts, what are we talking about? Stories, actual posts? Are we talking about reels? Because I know there's some confusion on where we should be focusing on that.
Short video posts. So I would say
that's actually short. Is that actually short?
It's shorts, reels, TikToks.
All of them, I guess. So overwhelming.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like a lot, but if you really break it down, if you can do a 10-second video, just record 10 seconds of anything. I could literally do 10 seconds of what we're doing right now and then put a funny quote on it, relatable, did I tell, everybody has a podcast these days or something. I don't know. It's just a funny thing. I'm recording whatever we're doing right now and then just put a quote on it and music. And how many videos do you guys have of your, sometimes
thousands.
People don't do the videos behind the scenes. You can just you can also just dedicate somebody, say, and another thing ChatGPT can do is you can say, hey, can you make a list of B-roll, a shot list for my assistant or, this person to do at this event. And then it'll be close up of people getting their pictures printed out or like, and it'll put the list together for you. So you just give that to one person and say, hey, can you get, 20
That's
videos tonight, 10-second videos?
good idea, just to make sure I'm getting all the videos. That maybe there's a obvious video that I'm overseeing, because when you're on this side of the camera for so long, you kind of forget what people are looking at and what they're after.
The other thing that you can do is like you can do one recording where it's kind of like a podcast. So you can even use like Google Meet to do it. If you have a Gmail account, just make a meeting, and then you can either have somebody that works with you interview you and just tell stories about your business. Oh, this one time, if you can do save the day stories, like if you guys saved the day somehow, oh, this person wanted this event and we did this amazing thing and we saved the day, or we gave this amazing idea and everybody loved it. If you're a good storyteller and you just tell people about your business, then you can turn that into shorts as well. And people like seeing the business owner in the video.
I've got some of those.
Yeah.
So you mentioned GetRela. So I brought it back up a couple times, but as business owners, like obviously we're wearing many hats. We love automation. We love doing things for us. What other softwares would you recommend, if there's any, other than GetRela?
I use a lot for my business. So my business is run on a lot of AI tools. I use Opus Clip. So if you do these sort of, have you heard of Opus?
I haven't.
No.
From the name of it, it sounds like it creates videos. Like I use the one that everyone else uses. Maybe it's a completely different application. CapCut, is it like a CapCut?
No. So Opus Clip, if you do like a long form interview or Zoom call or something like that, you can put the whole file and then it can clip it to 30-second videos, a minute videos, 3-minute videos. So that's really good for clipping if you're going to do long form content. I use CapCut. If you learn how to use templates on CapCut, you can just like add a video in there and it kind of makes it cool, or it adds the music to it.
Yeah, that's my entire creative process, is loading like 10 videos from an event and then just looking through templates to see which one I like most. And that's it.
I mean, that's a good strategy.
It's a strategy. It's something more of a strategy than not doing anything, I guess. But
Yeah,
what's funny, when I see other people saying like, hey, I'm hiring a VA or somebody to do my social media, what do you think of these posts? A lot of the times I'm like, bro, those are just CapCut. Like someone just loaded 10 videos into CapCut and shared templates with you. This literally took them 5 minutes, and you're going to pay them for it. But hey,
yeah,
if you're going to pay someone
we
that's
covered
actually
like
doing
some
something.
Beginner things for sure, and then something to, if you're more advanced. I think a big thing that we do is we find specific keywords for our clients. Let's say it's photo booth Las Vegas or something like that. We would try to find, and I didn't really find any viral ones for Las Vegas, but let's just say I did photo booth. We would find all the viral videos that come up for photo booth, like that keyword or maybe several keywords. And then we try to figure out if we can recreate those videos, not copy them, but like, what about it made it go viral? Is it a storytelling video? Is it a, some type of a cut of a video? So we'll figure out exactly what made that go viral and we'll redo the video essentially.
So just kind of following those trends, keeping an eye on them.
But like for your specific industry. So if you go to Instagram and you just go to search and then you go like, search a keyword in your industry and then slide over to Reels, then click on anything like above 100,000 and see if there's any ideas there basically that you can get inspiration from.
Write that down. I'm curious just to see. So in the Reels, I guess it's a tag that we're searching?
No, it can just be a keyword. So like I just search like photo booth rental and go to Reels. And then, so this one has 2K and it says POV, you booked our beauty booth. You booked our POV, you booked our beauty booth for your wedding photo booth. And it's just like this guy setting up. So you could do the same.
It's interesting that got so many, because when I see like because when I see those like POVs, I feel instantly my brain says this is an ad for a company and I skip past it. So I'm surprised it has so many views.
I think it's because of the way they filmed kind of like the whole process. It looks kind of like they filmed it from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's
wonder if
all you
that's
really have
like
to pay
photo
attention
booth
to.
companies watching that mostly.
Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out though. So we got sidetracked with softwares. Are there any others? Opus Clip, CapCut, any others that jump out to you? I mean,
For what,
without
the
getting
people
too
that
deep,
listen to
I
this
guess.
podcast, I would say just, CapCut, Captions app for putting the captions on it, but CapCut does pretty much everything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the fewer, the better, definitely. So one of the questions that we got was, what am I doing wrong? Essentially, everyone, like, when you take on clients, what is like the biggest mistakes that you see that they're making besides the obvious of like not posting? From the posts that they're actually doing, what are they doing wrong?
They're selling. People don't go on social media to watch ads or hear about you. It's always about, before you post, think like, is this all about me? Or, it's fine to have your maybe one post that you like pin at the top that's kind of like your I call it like the life story video. I have one on my page that's kind of like, what's my story? It's a minute long and I'm like, I'm Ari and this is who I am, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, it's like, are you educating? Are you entertaining? Are you making somebody laugh? What are you doing? So like for photo booths, it's like, I bet you there's a lot of questions. Like you could do a video, top 5 most requested types of photo booths, cookie booths, or people don't even know what's available, right? So you could do top 5s, you could do, and the cool thing too is that you don't even have to own all 5. Like you can just do a video saying like, because you're an expert in it, this is what you guys know. So, or, you can piggyback off of somebody in the media is getting married, a celebrity. You could do rate celebrity wedding photo booths. And like, again, it doesn't have to be your photo booth that did it, but you're an expert. So make that some content.
Yeah, like that. I don't know how many celebrities we see their photo booths from, but that would be, I would watch it.
Well, you see the pictures, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I don't know how many, like I've never looked. So
and the
I think
press
people would
will
watch
usually
that though
pick
if
it
you
up.
could
But
find
see
them.
that, like I'm thinking like that's something that might be going viral. Like somebody got married, a famous person, and you could you can kind of piggyback off that. Like, oh, what kind of, you could say either this is the kind of photo booth they had, or this is what I think of the pictures, or whatever. I mean, the whole point is just kind of like latch on to something that's going viral and put your 2 cents to it because you're the expert in this field.
Sure. So I guess you've kind of already answered when you're like up at night and you're thinking about social media, but at what point should someone throw in the towel and say, this is too much for me. I need to outsource this to somebody else. And, when should someone...
Well, here's the thing. I guess people should expect that it's going to take a while. So if you can't, make content or like hire someone for 3 months where you're paying maybe, $1,500 a month. Some people do it for less, but you get what you pay for. So I would just say that if you, let's say, it depends on how much also you're making per sale, right? Because like the plastic surgeon, right? He wasn't doing any social media, but one person finds him from social media and he made 20 grand or whatever, I don't know like the exact numbers. The point is it will back out. If you're not at a point where social media will back out for you, you kind of have to decide that. But if you can afford, $1,500 a month and you can afford to let it run for 3 to 6 months without completely breaking the bank, I would say that if you could get an expert to do it, and then also have them show you like what other accounts have you built, what's your process. For us, like we do the research, and then we basically give these, like, so if somebody orders like our 15 video package per month, they're getting 15 creator briefs where we're giving them 15 ideas, and then they go shoot the ideas. And sometimes I'll help them. So I'll do like a Zoom call like this where I'll ask them the questions, and then they'll give that content back to me, and then we'll edit it and then we'll post it for them.
Okay. So, I mean, that kind of gets into a few of our other questions. So when we are actually creates more too. So that's really interesting. You mentioned like the plastic surgery, obviously, like $1,500 a month is very easy if they just need one sale. So a lot of it comes down to budgeting, because we have photo booth companies that charge anywhere from $450 per event to an average of $1,500 per event to an average of, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 per event. So essentially, you need to know what your marketing budget is, what portion of that you can spend on or dedicate to social media. And ultimately, if your marketing budget is 10% and you're a $500 photo booth company, at $50 per event, you've got to be, turning over a lot of events to make that make sense from social media. And I don't know.
Right. But you can even so if you understand the process that I'm talking about, you could hire somebody from Upwork to write your captions and write your little things. And then and then an editor. Sometimes people will do it really inexpensively, but yeah, you've got to be a little bit more scrappy if your budget or if your product or services are that you're selling or not. Obviously, your marketing budget for most businesses, it's I think what they say, 18 to 20 or 25% is what you should be spending on marketing. I don't know what the numbers are for photo booths specifically, but
yeah, I think everyone's different. I think a lot of photo booth people, because there's kind of a low price of entry to get into the photo booth industry. So I think a lot of people are not really experienced business owners. And I honestly don't think many even have budgets for anything. Our budget is actually pretty low. So I only keep a 5% marketing budget, which I probably should increase. And that includes our AdWords and literally everything.
Well, and some people, like my friend who owns a professional organizing, she gets a lot of leads from, I forget, it's Angie's List or something, or one of those. It really depends on your industry. If you get leads from paid Google ads and that's still doing well for you, then that's the way to go. I feel like you're kind of a staple in Vegas, and obviously you do this podcast. So it's not like you're not doing marketing. Your time is also valuable. And
well, thank you. I love hearing that I'm a staple in Vegas.
I know about you, and I've been here for that long, so. and I saw a photo booth of yours before I actually met you.
Oh well,
the cookie
I'm glad
one.
that you connected. Oh yeah, that's right. That was you.
I made a reel of it.
yeah, free reel.
But
You didn't even charge me.
I guess I didn't see the branding there, but if you can also put your stuff, some type of branding or something near your booth so that if somebody's taking a video, it gets, and they post it and it does well, somebody could see where's that photo booth from?
Yeah, and that, I guess, brings up another point. So every now and again, you'll have awesome influencers come by and do their own reels, and make sure that they're tagging you and it's easy to tag you and your information's there. But when they do that, make sure you're sharing that stuff. And that's how we kind of connected and realized that she had been to one of our booths before because she posted something and we shared it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So you mentioned a little bit about what to look for when looking for a creator. Let's get a little bit deeper into that. So someone has three that they're deciding between. What are they looking at? Past clients, obviously, their post quantity, their engagements, new followers. I know a lot of people will always say they build the account from this to that, but
Right.
I feel like engagement is more important because you have those you have fake bots for engagement now too. So it's hard to.
I know. Yeah, but I don't think, it'd be hard to sustain putting bots on every post for if you were, doing social media for somebody. I would just say look at their work, and even if with so I just started my business and doing this, what I'm doing, even though I've been doing this for a long time, I never thought I could do it as a business, because in my brain, before, I don't know why I thought, I'm going to have to go to them and then film everything for them, and I can't scale that. But now I just tell them what to do, and then it's oh yeah, that's easy if you just tell somebody what to record. And so I didn't have a lot of long time clients, but I could show them, I had people where I'm oh, hey, let me do a video for you, and then got a lot of views. Or even just the ones that I did for that giveaway that we did, I showed people too. I'm I haven't even done a lot of wedding content, but I felt like those videos did pretty well. And the point is just look at what they've done in the past. And then if they haven't done something in your industry, it would be great if they know about your industry. But if they don't, ask them, how are you going to research my industry specifically? What do you know about this industry? Anybody that you hire should talk about how they're going to tap into your demographic, because that's how you need to make content for the type of people that are going to hire you. You don't need to make content that you care about or that your social media person cares about. You need to make content that connects with the events planner, with the, I don't know, who does all the bookings for you guys specifically, but breaks
Sure,
that
a lot
down.
of planners, you're on it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you do a lot of like plastic surgeons, things like that. So do most content creators kind of stay within one demographic? Like, do you do a lot of different medical stuff or things like that? Or do you feel like you could comfortably do that and a photo booth company and a lawyer and a used car sales?
Yeah, we can do anything because we use AI to research every niche. So we do like an extensive research process. And I think a lot of social media companies don't do that. And so they're kind of just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. And I feel like that's, I feel like there's a lot of people that are scared to hire a social media person because they're like, oh, we did it this one time and didn't work out as well as we wanted it to or whatever.
Yeah, that's me.
Definitely before you hire someone, like ask them, what is your strategy? How are you going to connect with my customers? What are your ideas? You could definitely ask them, could you create, like we do it all the time, like 1 to 3 videos for just as an example of what we can do. Right now we've gotten like to the point where we have a waiting list for people that we want to onboard because it grew so fast. But like, I don't have a problem doing, 1 to 3 videos just to show somebody what I can do if they're a serious client or a serious potential client.
And I know it's kind of dating the podcast because it won't be relevant. Like even a year from now. But you mentioned pricing before, so like $1,500 where do you fall? Do you think that's pretty standard? You mentioned that you could find lower. What can someone expect as far as pricing, and what are they going to get for that?
Yeah, I think you can find lower. So our packages are pretty simple. We charge $2,000 for 15 videos a month. We charge $3,500 for 30 videos a month. Like it kind of depends on how involved something might be. Then we I don't know. That's basically our standard package, but if it involves like us having to go shoot it, then we have different packages for that. But I've seen people that, do like, I think maybe like $800 a month. I've seen that before. And like the only thing about social media is like, if you don't know anything about it, it's hard to like manage the person that's doing it if they're not doing it right. I would just say like making sure that they have like creative ideas. Ask them about, do you guys use AI? Ask them about some of these questions. How do you utilize search engine optimization? How do you research my industry? All that kind of stuff.
I had a question, but I think I lost it. I don't remember. That's okay. So do you provide with those videos like any kind of reporting of like, so we can have some kind of way to track what's going on? Like if we're creating more engagement, more
I use Rella.
Followers, the same, and that tracks all of that.
I use Rella for the reporting, but it's tough because it's tough to track attribution for social media posts because somebody might find you on social media and then go directly to your website. And so you're going to give the attribution to search engine or whatever, but you can ask them, did you find me on social media? Or you can run little, giveaway or things like that on your socials to get people from that. Maybe referrals would be a cool thing. I don't know.
Yeah, like or direct links.
What has brought the most business for you? Is it the Google ads?
Most like cold business like is definitely Google ads. Far and away our largest portion of our business is repeat business just because we've been around so long and have built up such a large clientele. But as far as like brand new people, that's definitely Google ads. And unfortunately, Lap's phone overheated, so she's not on here anymore. She's not just being quiet. We lost her on the call, but I wish she was here because she actually gets quite a bit from social media, but she doesn't do a lot with social media. Like most of her new business comes from social media, and I don't understand it because we don't. Like I might get 2 leads a month from Instagram or TikTok or something, and that's it. So I don't know how to. And for a while, we were really, really big
Even
with
when you're posting
social
once a
media.
day, or no?
Yeah, we were posting a lot, and we would get like calls and people from our industry, the wedding industry, and other photo booth companies write to us and be like, "Man, your social media is on fire. Who are you using?" And it was great to hear that people were seeing it, but the people that were seeing it weren't our customers. It was our colleagues, and obviously that's flattering, but not, it doesn't bring in the money. So we're missing the mark. So
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like, I feel like you have to really target the content to the event planners or, whoever's planning these corporate parties and things like that.
maybe I think from social media, and I could certainly be wrong, but I feel like the most people that will be coming from that are like individual clients, like brides or couples. Planners, I feel like that's going to be more trust and relationship based. I mean, if they're looking for something new and they see something unique that you're doing,
That's true.
they may reach out to you. But like all of our planners, like Brittany, for example, I can't
That's
imagine
true.
her using another company because she saw them on social media a bunch of times. Like we have that deep relationship.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Organization, you touched on that. That's one of my own personal pain points. That's something I added in here myself. You mentioned that you use Google Photos. That's a different app, right? Like we haven't used the Google Drive, and for photos, we recently started using Flickr because it has a pretty robust like filtering and tagging system. But I haven't put any videos in there yet.
On which one is it? On Google Photos?
Yeah, you mentioned that you use that for organizing your stuff. Is there?
I mean, I use just Google Drive, but I've started to use Google Photos too. And the other thing I've been doing, you can do, so if you do make shorts, it's fun to use like movie video B-roll because it just gets more like people like watching it better. So if you're like telling a story about like a bride or something like that, you could pull like, B-roll or footage from like Father of the Bride, or I don't know, whatever movie you like that has a wedding in it. And we like organize that stuff. And so then like if we have a video ready to go or we're talking about a wedding or something like that, then we just drop that like famous movie footage in. And since it has no sound, it's fair use. And I think that's pretty cool too.
I didn't realize it's fair use if there's no sound. So do
I
you
mean,
know it's
for a
fair
short
use, or
video,
does it
like
just
we
not
only
get
use like,
flagged?
I think it's fair use if it's under, it's fair use, I think, if it's under 10 seconds and if it's a recreation. Like you can't just use, a full, like, I don't know how many, minute video, but like I think it's called like a new work or something like that. But yeah, everybody does it. So, and I'm pretty sure it falls under fair use because it's a new work or something like that. I'm not a lawyer, but people like big creators are doing that.
So our people sent in some questions of what their pain points and whatnot. But obviously with them not being like in the heart of social media, what questions, I guess, did they not ask that they should have asked?
What questions should they ask that they should, I'm confused, sorry.
To you specifically, they sent in questions that they wanted me to ask you, but are there any like obvious questions to you that companies should know that, I mean, we didn't ask because we just didn't know to ask because we're not in your, I guess, like, what else do you want people to know?
Really, I mean, I think I covered the main ones, like a static photo post, no good on Instagram, at least. People are sleeping on YouTube Shorts, and I don't think that's smart because it's the second largest search engine. Yeah, I mean, I covered most of the ones that I think like people should think about.
That's good. I mean, if we're
thorough,
that we're okay with being thorough.
Anything off the top of my head.
One thing I guess I thought of, like, so obviously we've got photo booth companies in every price range. And when customers are talking to us about price, we're one of the higher priced, and we'll try to kind of help them understand that they're not like comparing apples to apples. But we'll also say, there are budget booths out there, and if that fits your theme, like we wouldn't really recommend them for a wedding at the Waldorf. You should probably go with a trusted brand and whoever your planner is recommending. But we would also pretty much adamantly say, like, if they're under X dollar amount, like under $400 for us, we say, that's just not feasible. You can't operate a business successfully for under $400, even if you're like in your garage. So be very wary. That company may not be around come your wedding, and make sure they've been around for at least a couple of years. Look at their reviews. So at what dollar amount, because people are going to be shopping around, at what point should people like raise the red flag and say this is too cheap for social media content?
Well, if they're going to be doing video content, if they're doing like a significant amount of video content, you have to think about it like, it's like if they're doing, let's just say 20 videos a month, and then if they're charging like, $10 a video or something like that, it's probably not going to be a good product because they also have to post it on all the different platforms. So I would just say like, I think that there are some people that do social media for like the $400 range, but I would say like to get a professional person that's really going to make an impact and it's going to post videos consistently, you're probably looking at like a minimum of like $800 a month.
Okay, cool.
Somebody good. But I bet you there's people out there that do it for like 400. And then, I would just like you said, vet them out. What have they done? And like you might just need to pay like as long as they do, you can do deliverable based where you're like, okay, how many posts a month do I get? And are you going to give me the post ideas? Like, where are you going to tell me what I need to like send you? And if you clarify, like, I need you to give me 20 ideas a month, tell me what kind of content you need for that 20 a month. And then if they're going to do it for 400 a month, then just, they've got to post the videos. And if they do it, I mean, maybe that's better worth it than doing nothing,
Sure.
So you can kind of gamble if you're not doing anything and you get somebody, you're like, okay, $100 a week. Can I pull that?
Swing
I mean,
that.
it's a bit of a gamble. It might take a couple people to find the right person, and then at that point you've already spent
You're going to spend the money
$800
anyways.
or whatever. But
yeah, and I guess longevity. If you can ask them like, who's your longest running client? There's really no way to know who their clients are though. So if they got hired by someone, and they last 3 weeks, and get hired by someone else in the last 2 weeks, and another person in the last 6 weeks, there's no like they're not going to tell us that, and there's really no way to tell who they're working for,
the thing
unfortunately.
that's also hard to gauge is like, if you hire me, I'm not going to start posting videos probably till week 3 of our engagement because we got to do a week 3 or 4 even. And I've had a client before where we told them everything to do. We got all the videos ready. And then like somebody at the company was like, I don't like how this looks, or I don't, we got to pay extra if this person's doing this. And so we didn't even, my client is my friend. He's like, all right, let's grab it and do it for another company. But it was frustrating because we had done all the content the way that it should be done. But somebody at the company basically was like, kind of a know-it-all, being like, oh, I don't think this is going to work, or this isn't how we like our content done. And so we didn't get a chance to launch it. And that wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, the client wasn't unhappy. It was just like, oh, I wanted to launch all the videos because I know they would have done so well. So you have to, if you do get somebody like me that knows what they're doing, like you got to trust me, and most of my clients do, but sometimes companies have like a lot of red tape or politics going on. So it's like, that's the other thing too. Sometimes a company will hire, the intern or somebody at the company to do the thing. And then when they see that the company is going to bring in a legitimate person, they get a little bit territorial where they're like, well, I don't want them to show me off. And then it's like, I try to just stay away from that kind of stuff. It's like, I know what I'm doing. So either listen to me or don't. Well, you're paying me, so you might as well listen to me for what I know.
Yeah. That makes sense. And we tried to bring someone in office because I wanted them to be like part of our team. So they would like intimately know, like I wanted them to represent our team and our brand. A lot of that is just our energy and our attitude and whatnot, and the things that are going on in our office. So we wanted them to bring that. So we didn't want to just like record our own videos and send it to somebody. But of course, obviously bringing someone in office and recording constantly like that was expensive. And we did it for 3 months and we didn't see the return that we needed to see. So we stopped doing that, but I probably should have started.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Smaller. Anyways, unfortunately, we don't have the amazing energy that Lap typically brings, but fortunately you brought your own. More of the question guy, and she's more of the
I just
energy
got over getting
side.
sick, so at least I could talk today. I was like, I need to get better by today so that I can actually talk.
So what do you have coming up? Do you have any?
Like, RFK Jr.
Do you have any big projects? Do you have anything you're working on?
No offense to him, but it's hard sometimes. Just honestly, we're launching a podcast called The Punch, which is going to be like a fun news show. But we're just working on Creator Genius, and hopefully we're going to build out tools where the AI can talk to, because like I said, we use like 30 tools. So hopefully, doing our first round of raising our first round of capital on that. And then, just working with small and medium-sized business owners. Nothing crazy, but we're growing steadily. And luckily, everybody that I've worked with is, happy and they're still on board. So that's my main thing is I don't want to, if I lose a client because they don't, they don't want to focus on it. Or some people, it's just it does take a while, right? Because you're starting from zero. I have a client that does stocks. He has a stock program where it teaches you how to buy stocks and all this stuff. But, he's starting from zero. And so even though he's had some good videos, it's we're not a conversion company. So if you don't have your website set up where if your funnel doesn't convert, that's not what I do. I'm just focused on getting you eyeballs to your website, your landing page. But I think that's another thing people should, now that I think about it, people should make sure if you do hire somebody to do your social media, make sure that everything on your website is optimized. Make sure that your lead forms work properly. Make sure that if you get somebody to your website, that they're going to convert, because that's not the social media person's job. And so you can't really blame the social media person for not getting you new leads if your funnel page is broken or it's too clunky, whatever. So that's a big thing to make sure you have your website and your landing page and where you're funneling leads in from properly set up.
Yeah, and that's something we talked about with,
for
example, Google Ads. You can't really gauge sales because the selling is your job. Google Ads is only supposed to get you clicks, and that's what you have to gauge. It's kind of harder though with social media because you don't really know what to gauge, because you're not necessarily I guess you have different goals, and the goals may be to get clicks to a website, but typically it might be engagement, it might be getting new followers. I guess you have to define those goals and what you expect from your content creator, and set up measurable points to review and see if you're achieving those key indicators or not.
Yeah, for sure.
The
Thanks
lap
for
would
having
pop
me.
back in. Yeah, I was hoping Lap was going to get her device running, her phone overheated, so that she could at least come on to close out, but it looks like she's not going to, so maybe we'll patch her in later. But thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Lots of great content. If anyone has any follow-up questions or wants to follow along your journey, check out your podcast. One last time, tell us who you are, where we can find you, and all your stuff, all your handles and website, whatever that
Awesome.
is.
I'm Little Miss Jacob pretty much everywhere. My website is creatorgenius.com. Yeah, you can find me, Little Miss Jacob. And I have littlemissjacob.com. So I've got really cool merch.
Really cool merch. I'm going to have to get some merch and represent.
Yes. Citizen journalist.
Because truth matters.
So
Truth matters, indeed.
yes, it does.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.